Hello, everybody. Yeah. Rock your body.
Okay, that's enough for you,
Yeah.
Scott.
You
Back
don't...
to me.
Back streets back. All right.
Dun, 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 dun,
All right.
dun.
Oh, God, I hate that song. Gonna rock your body. I don't actually know how it works.
You're that guy. You don't know the words, so you're just mumbling them.
All right, so I actually don't know the words. I hear the song too often too. But
Tesh
all right,
got it.
Tesh, you. Back to you, sir.
Yes.
No, you.
He sits down with you, and you guys enjoy a meal. Do you start conversation outright, like right out the bat, or do you wait until the meal happens first?
I would start pressing him for sort of information about this town, the history of it, how it says separated from Parendale.
Sure.
If it's separated from Parendale.
It did. He says, "Oh, we are not Perrin, in nationality in the least bit. We've separated ourselves from them considerable amount of time ago. 132 years? No, sorry. About 110 years ago, we came here. Well, we didn't like how things happened in Paradel. The location where the town was created was chosen because of the fact that it was a very defensible position against the Perrin. Immediately afterwards, we built a culture of defending ourselves. Idir has been a very chaotic place for as far as history can stretch. Or so I'm told. Or so I'm told. And so the founders were told when they were young, which is probably why they chose this location.
How? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
No,
How long ago was this?
about 110 years ago. The exact year, I honestly don't know. My job isn't to care about the past, but to plan for the future.
How? Do you have a leader?
We do. Her name is the Vigil. That is a title given to the leader at any point in time.
How long have they been the leader?
She's been the leader for only a few years. She's new to her position. But Octavia, he says, and you can see there's a bit of a taboo you can see in his face a bit of a taboo of saying her real name to you. Octavia has come into her full being as the Vigil. The throne sits her well. The crown rests comfortably. The scepter is easy in her hand.
And what, may I ask, happened to the previous ruler?
They died.
No extraneous events?
It's actually a heart attack. As far as we understand.
They don't know what a heart attack is.
They do.
Interesting. May I ask, the Vigil is a title, yes?
The Vigil is the title. Vigil is the name of the city. Mm-hmm.
May I ask how this came about?
The title, the Vigil,
Yes.
it might seem strange to somebody who's not of here, but yeah, sorry. Where are you? It might seem strange to somebody that's not of here, but this is in part because of the ceremony with which somebody gains the title. For instance, the sword carried by the Vigil is called the Vigilant. You do know of Lady Arabelle Dark Eyes, do you not?
I know of her, yes.
Have you studied the faith at all?
I I imagine this is me out of character. I imagine I would have studied at least a bit while I was in Paradel. Do you want me to do a roll?
You don't have to.
Okay.
Lady Areville Dark Eyes is her formal title. It's the name of the goddess. But she goes by other names as well. The Dark Maiden, the Lady of War, and the Vigilant. The sword was a gift from Lady Areville to one of her most vigilant. It was amongst those that founded the city, and has been a gift to the leader of the city ever since. The leader of the city need not only be someone who puts forward their people before themselves, the greater good of their nation, but also puts Lady Areville deepest in their heart, to be consumed by that love, and to even not marry, not wed, outside of their station. You can step down from this position before death if you choose to do so, but you are not allowed to form a family or have a family when you step into the position. Because when you have a family, you're willing to put them above others. You're willing to value their lives above the lives of others. People question my position as commander. I have 4 children. It's unusually high for a parent of my age. And it's very fortunate that some years ago, we've eliminated the ritual of Medahina. I suppose that's why I have so many children. I'm not concerned about the youngest, so I'm always willing to have more.
What? I'm guessing I don't recognize the name of that ritual.
Oh, we've talked about it before, Tesh. Medahina, the youngest of all parent. So in a parent family, parent and a parent get a baby.
Yeah.
That baby is a Medahina, which means they have no last name. So if your last name is, I don't know, Johnson, instead of having the last name Johnson, it's the last name Medahina, which means you have no family name. And as soon as you turn 20 and become an adult, your family turns their back on you and you're not allowed to communicate with them or gain any of their benefits or can inherit any of their goods. However, if you have a younger sibling, they become the Medahina and you gain the last name Johnson. And it goes on and on and on and on. It actually makes a strange dynamic in parent relationships where children often try to get their parents to bone because it's like, like, Dad, you know, Mom's really loves roses. Maybe you should get us some roses because you want to get rid of your Medahina status. Now, like I said before, a Medahina has no family. However, they can earn a title. They can take if they do a deed worthwhile, they can bring it before a judge and have it deemed. This is, of course, you know the courts very well. Can have it deemed that they've earned the merit of a title, and they would gain a new last name that corresponds with the task they did. Should you kill a dragon that's plaguing the land and destroying the crops that are necessary for the forward march of an army in an important battle, you can be called Dragon's Bane. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Okay. Yep. Good that you've done away with that ritual.
I assume you have a younger sibling?
I do not.
You're a Medahina?
I don't think I would have had a.
You could have had a younger sibling. You could have had a younger sibling that died too, and that's also okay.
I wrote something about this specifically in my thing. Give me a second. It's been a while.
I thought you had a brother. They had 2 brothers.
No, that's you, Scott. Jeez.
I have 3 brothers. Thank you.
Sure.
How do you not know that? You know, r/Daelric lore.
Daelric lore.
I do remember us talking about brothers at some point, but I haven't written it down in my thing. That's weird. The thing is, I also don't remember ever talking about the Medahina thing.
Well, we talked about that. We're talking Tesh.
My brain might have just lobbed a day of
Talks about it right at the very start. Scott's
Yeah.
mentioned it at times.
Yeah. We're talking inception of character, probably pre-session 1.
Yeah, I think my brain might have just lobbed a big chunk of info out. My bad.
We all do it. It's a lot of setting lore that you're learning.
I
I
would
mean-
say that I'd have the two brothers then, because
Yeah.
it would make sense why I still have the family name and why I was like doing the work.
So another little tidbit before we move away from that: a child is born, and it's when they turn 1 on their first birthday, they become a Metahina, and there's a celebration. There's actually a party, but the party isn't for the 1-year-old. On their day of birth, the party's there to the next sibling, who it's a welcome to the family party. So it is possible that you have a child that turns 1 or older and dies, and they all the children above that, none of them carry the title of Metahina because you don't revert. You've already been welcomed to the family with a party. So you could have a younger sibling that had passed. So, which is not unusual. To be loved by anyone. So, anyways, he said, it's good he did away with that ritual. He says, I agree, it's barbaric and severs family ties when people can work closely together. Besides, we do not have the view upon life and how to live it like the parent do. We do not seek to expand and to have archaic rituals that force others to want to go and earn names and do adventure. We're a close-knit society. We keep side by side with one another. I'm sure you did not even hear of our nation until recently, if at all.
Indeed.
That's because we are small. We are one city, and barely any farmlands beyond it. We do a lot of fishing, and there is a crop that we have grown in the bed of the lake itself. We use that for vegetation. Of course, you enjoyed a meal right now and before, carrots, cabbage, and the like. But those don't take a lot of space to feed all of the people because we rotate through who's eating what. Everything is rationed and regimented. Everything's looked after and traded for. You won't really find much of a marketplace in the city because people don't come here to trade. We send people out to trade. Not always is the name of our nation mentioned when trade is had, though more keen persons might inquire and find things out.
Literally everything I said about the man.
Yeah, yep.
It was a good guess.
You mentioned another other than the vigil that has a high rank here.
I did. Vanessa. Hold on, let me get her full name. Apologies. Scan notes. I did. Vanessa Meshtez.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Vanessa Meshtez. Which you know, Meshtez is the name of the slave city to the south that's in Paradel. That is the largest slave city in all of the Aeroth.
Yeah, I would
Slavers.
do a visible like sort of head like hang on a second when he says that name.
He clearly can see your expression, but does not take the bait.
And how did they get a high position here? What is their title?
She's the librarian. We have a dynamic structure here similar to that I imagine you're familiar with back home. Back home, there were 3 people that ruled. There was the commander, there was the treasurer, and then there was the... Goddamn, I still have to find where I have that written down. I always forget the name of it. But more or less the mayor, but it's the K apostrophe person. The mayor. The leader, whatever. Here, we have the librarian for knowledge. We have the commander for defense. And we have the vigil for leadership.
So, I think you'd just be thinking for a while after that.
He enjoys his meal. It's not like it's an amazing meal. It's an inn.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this guy does make a good meatloaf. You know.
I've noted that you're quite on edge for a town that is seemingly relaxed.
Depends on what you mean by on edge.
The soldiers at the ready, I would gesture in the direction that wherever the guard tower is.
Nods. The original foundation of this city, the erection of the walls, the construction of the guard tower, was with the assumption that the Paradel military would be following in suit behind us, that they would be looking to recapture us as either slaves, take us back as soldiers, delve out the punishment as they saw fit. We chose the position that is most defensible in all of Idir to defend ourselves from what it is that they might do. We were wrong. However, Idir is still a chaotic place. There's still owlbears that roam through the woods and sometimes the mountains. There's still goblin tribes that can be found. There's still bandits, raids, and even occasionally magic that goes awry. We defend ourselves against those. And recently, there has been a new threat that has been brewing. A neighbor with perhaps appetites that aren't too pleasant.
Rude.
There was reason why Paradale wouldn't follow you in here. It is intriguing how you've formed all this, considering certain circumstances.
Depends on what the circumstances are. This wasn't done without cost.
What did you know? What do you know of Idir? The rest of Idir?
People live lives that they see are best. I think they make poor decisions. I think they could live more comfortable lives. But it's not my place to tell somebody else how to live their life. Only what they're allowed to do within the city.
And have you noticed a recent surge in states?
Including yours.
Yes. I take it you don't know why there was not many states before now.
We didn't branch out or look too closely in the past. It's not been something that we cared to do beyond to protect our walls, to protect our people. We like to keep quiet. We're removed from the roads, we're removed from the rivers.
Fair enough. I'm not going to voluntarily tell him why. I was just trying to see if he had any inkling of why.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to. He doesn't seem to be questioning. He seems to be there answering questions, not asking them.
Yeah.
Did you care to stay for dessert as well?
Why not?
They serve that.
Thank you for your time. It has been intriguing, to say the least.
We have traditions here. I believe in our traditions. I certainly respect our traditions. It's unfortunate that the way that you came to our city leaves you looking at us as though we might be something villainous. I can assure you, we are not that. However, I cannot just let you go trouncing around inside the library and discovering what it is you choose to. But I will, of course, answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. It's been a pleasure meeting with you. I hope these meetings don't end. And he'll actually, this is what you had said beforehand, seemed like a goodbye. He actually, with his cake or whatever half finished, he'll stand up, tuck his helmet underneath his arm, and give you a polite bow, And once again, you can see that the salute, the the vigil salute is very similar to the Paradel one, slightly different. I think it's actually the opposite arm they use. And then he turns and walks out. Or I think instead of a closed fist, it's an open hand, or like a front knuckle sort of a thing. I can look it up later. Slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. This is me talking out of character. It's, worrying how little knowledge they had about the curse, considering. Makes me. It's why I was crying about the previous ruler. It's like, are we sure this vigil's entirely sane?
So you can finish up your meal, so on and so forth, and eventually you are brought back to the. You can go rest. The next day, somebody will actually come calling to you. Not him though. Somebody else will knock on the door.
Get up, get myself proper, open the door.
Hello. We've come to bring you Chosen of the Hearth to meet with the Vigil. If you'd please finish gathering yourself together and come with us to meet with her. We brought a ride for you to do so. And he gestures over, and there's a really nice looking horse sitting there. Adjacent to two other horses, other one that's empty, imagine it's his, and a third one that another man's sitting on.
Very well. I'll gather my things and get on the horse.
When you get on the horse and you start making your way to where it is at the the center of the place.
Do a presentation to just make sure everything is pristine and shiny.
Looks like a horse dropped a deuce behind himself. So you go to speak with her. However, this place doesn't have a proper castle like some people.
Oh, it's the temple.
It doesn't have a town hall, and a garrison would be a strange place, wouldn't it?
Oh, fuck.
Well, we already said that the librarian is the leader of knowledge, and we already said that the commander is the leader for the garrison. She needs her own place, doesn't she? When you're riding up to the temple of Lady Aravel.
Why are these guys copying us? God. Chosen the quill, chosen the blade, except they just called themselves something different, like commander and librarian.
I think they copied the paramilitary. So
no, us.
Oh, of course. So what's your call it? You're led to the face of the temple. The temple itself, you can't get around it. It's beautiful. You've seen many temples to Lady Aravel in the past. You're fucking from Paradel. You've seen many of them. This one is beautiful. There's a certain degree of care that shows its beauty. It's not the most beautiful. Let's be serious. You lived at Osto, which is not technically a part of Bard, and they got some class. But you've seen some, like, this is a beautiful temple. It really is well formed. The statues of Lady Aravel out front, one of them in a commanding, domineering kind of posture, but another one kind of like a very leadership kind of, not motherly, but protective kind of posture to her. When you first walk in the door and you see the inside, the pillars that rise up to hold the ceiling and so on. Now, mind you, this isn't a full-blown cathedral. This isn't like a fucking massive place. This isn't, what's that place called? That just burned down recently in France.
Notre Dame?
Notre Dame. This isn't Notre Dame, but it is still a large temple. It's still beautiful. You see the pillars that are in there. One of the other things that strike you, as you can see on the left wall on the right, there are paintings that are up there, framed paintings hanging on the walls of other Perrin on either side. But the paintings mostly of the same artist, and then kind of switches to a different artist, mostly of the same artist, and so on, of different Perrin. Each one of them wearing very similar looking armor. Each one of them having the sigil that is that of Vigil, and each one of them holding the same bastard sword in their hands. And as you walk through the temple, you can see at the head of the temple, much like where a priest or a clergy person would be, there is a woman that is kneeling before an altar. That altar before a massive statue of Lady Aravel. Lady Aravel herself, in such a poise that it looks as though she's holding a sword, crafted of stone, that you imagine it's kind of like tied into the ceiling for like structural integrity and whatnot. It looks as though she's ready to strike down on the person that's kneeling before the altar. Looks like she's literally ready to cleave them in mush because how massive the sword is that is coming off the statue. And so she's kneeling before it, and she's kind of mumbling to herself, but silently praying. When you go in there and the door shuts behind you, it's just the two of you. And then takes a moment, and you realize it's not. There's another. She's sitting in the very front of the temple, but kind of off to the side, not in the center where, like, if you walk down the middle aisle of the pews, where you would see her, like, right there. She's kind of off to the side, which is why you didn't catch her. That, and, you know, her brown hair and everything kind of blended in. She wasn't moving much. Then just kind of shift. You see the shimmer off of her hair. Look over and you notice her. What do you do?
Hello.
You sage to openly to the room, or do you walk up to either of them?
Openly to the room.
The one that's sitting in the pew looks over in your direction, sees you. She stands up and then starts walking over. She's wearing clothes similar to the other librarians. Loose-fitting, simple, so on and so forth, but not restricting in any other way. Nothing that would slow you down. Certainly something you could move comfortably in. She makes her way over to you. She's yawning. My apologies.
We're all a bit sleepy today.
Would I get rid of the exhausted condition now?
Yes. She makes her way over to you. One of the things that stands out to you is she's definitely older. You can see the gray starting to bite its way into her hair by the roots and kind of like over on the sides, down into her hair a little bit, so on and so forth. You can see little bits of wrinkles on the side of her face, you imagine, from countless years of squinting to read by candlelight. But you can also see, well, eyes that know to be serious, but also have a kindness to them. She comes over and gives you a gentle smile. Nothing great, just like a small curling of the lips. She's aged. Clearly, you can see it in the gray. But her features have not elongated. Her ears have not risen. Is she human? Maybe. And she comes over to you and says, "Hello. Chosen of the Hearth, I believe the title is."
Indeed.
And I believe this was done as an homage to your goddess.
Correct.
3 gods that you worship in your home.
Seems you've done your research.
Of course I have. She says, chuckling at your little joke. My apologies, it's force of habit. I have to say, I'm a little disappointed at you I'm speaking with. I believe Chosen of the Quill is the one that would have interested me. But I'm glad that we were able to extend an opportunity to meet one of you in person. It's very rare that we can meet with the leaders of other lands. We don't generally allow them in our home, and we don't generally go to theirs.
I imagine you don't generally incapacitate them as well.
Same as this time? Correct. Please, let's not disrupt her prayers. She leads you like several pews back from the center, and she sits down and says, "Just wait. She'll be ready shortly." Several minutes pass. Her definition of shortly may be wrong, because many more minutes pass. Sitting and just watching in silence. There's no noise, just occasional wind. As she's up there and kind of praying to herself, you're far enough back, you can't hear a word she's saying. Quick back, continues praying. Eventually you hear the creaking of the door behind you. A couple of boot steps, the door slams shut. Not like a hard slam, just it's heavy. And some more boot steps, and sit in the pew opposite, so there's just the middle aisle between the two of you. you see the commander himself comes in and then has a seat. Several more minutes pass, and eventually she stands and she turns to look toward you. What you see there is a woman that, while scarred in some places and has an athletic build, she is definitely a woman. I would say beautiful, but masculine. Certainly somebody who looks as though they were born to wield a sword, born to wear the armor that she wears. As she comes towards you, you can see that she does have kind of what you would call a bob cut. It's like a light short cut that comes above the right about where the jawline is. That you imagine does not get tangled in a helmet very easily, and very deep green eyes. She walks towards you and says, "Everyone is here. Now we should speak."
Indeed.
And with that, we have to end the session with. Please.
Can I make a note? You know how every superhero origin story is them fighting an evil version of themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna leave that.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. So we're gonna leave it at that. And next week, when we pick up, we have 2 big tasks ahead of us. You have to have your conversation, and they have to fight Arsugo. A bunch of stuff
which
happens.
one I want.
A bunch of stuff happens, and so I'm gonna have to have that kind of play out next week. But
see, your little thing just matters about the lives of the people who are there. This is good to like kill everybody.
This matters for everyone. All right, so I have to make note of all the things that happened over in with the daddies, so they're not lost because some stuff happened. But next week we'll finish your conversation. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But otherwise, Neil, the only reason we end as early as we do and don't play until midnight EST, the only reason. Who are you?
It wasn't a question. There you go. Well done. Oh, if you don't, what are you doing? You can find me in an hour on twitch.tv rant for some D&D 5e goodness, where you interrupted me midway through. Thanks. Oh, now I'm... Zoom is just catching up. It's just saying muted, unmuted, muted, unmuted. It's struggling. Where I play a amazingly handsome and charismatic sun elf, who definitely won't die in a session or two.
Definitely won't die anyways.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think this could be TPK land.
Did you finally get your loins wet?
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly.
He's saving himself, Scott. You wouldn't understand that.
Nope. Anything else, Neil?
No. Follow me on Twitter for absolutely no tweeting, but sometimes retweets of insightful or cute things.
Tash.
Speaking of tweets of cute things, lots
of mine are just retweets of Tash.
You can find me on the Tash Tube on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You should follow me on Twitter because I post I retweet a lot of cute animal gifs and pictures stuff, and also streaming a lot of Minecraft recently because it's fun.
Beautiful. Minecraft. Actually, with that whole Pokemon thing, I'm like, oh, do I give in? No, you don't have time, Scott. No, don't do it. and then Pat and Wade are like, come join the server, Scott. Join. No.
I'm really tempted to go join that server.
Are you gonna stream some Remnant?
Yes. I play it enough that yes, I definitely will be.
Good stuff.
Game that came out of nowhere.
Jake, sir, you have a bit of news starting this week.
Oh my god, you're pregnant. It's because the father. Congrats.
It's a shitty baby.
You'll be born with a beard and a receding hairline.
I don't have a receding hairline, thank you.
No, not you. Scott.
I have beautiful
anyway,
hair.
I'm here on Wednesday nights for me, and yeah, starting Friday day for me, which I think is Thursday night for the others. I'll be on my first Lost Initiative show, Dark Sun. So
Yay!
very excited for it.
What time of day is that for your Australian brethren?
I think it starts at 11 a.m. Friday.
As opposed to
oh
9
my
p.m.
god.
9 p.m. for us. So.
I'm gonna have to tune into some of this or some of the VODs to see what Jake's like when he's not in the early hours of the morning. I wonder if he's different. Can you imagine how different? Maybe
I had no coffee today, so I'm just.
Oh my god!
I haven't had coffee yet either. I'm like,
why haven't you done this? I don't understand.
Because
Jake obviously has none.
If I got decent sleep, which I fell asleep by 3 last night, if I got decent sleep, then I try not to drink coffee too early because I'm gonna need it for later. You know.
It's not decent sleep. You're gonna end up with a higher chance of a great variety of things from reduction in
Tesh,
sleep.
what time did I message you back this morning? 7:30.
This morning.
Yeah, because I messaged you the second thing I did when I woke up.
Let's have a look. See.
It was 4.5 hours.
That's not enough.
No. Wait. You messaged me this morning. No, you messaged me at 2:40 p.m.
Which is what time backwards?
Oh, you mean? Wait. Okay. If you're that
was my this morning, you're this evening.
Oh, okay. 9 p.m. Yeah, 9 p.m. When.
I think it was 7:30 because we're a half hour off, so it was 7:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, meh. All right, moving on. Daelric, what I want to talk about for you guys to know is the Aurorum community game. Jake is actually in the next slew of characters, isn't he?
Oh, more Jake! Jake's famous now. He's on three streams.
Will be in a couple weeks, and then Neil, you'll
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to make that because time.
But you're on the docket, so you're probably going to be put with slashes.
I've already told Josh I'm going to be with slashes and probably Sinatra Girl in the indefinitely maybe.
Well, no, what we do is we'll just do a different day of the week. We'll do a Saturday midday one or something like that, so it works better for everybody. We'll kind of find a time slot and make it happen, at least for a one-time session, to get you guys involved. But anyways, so Tesh, if you'd like to be a part of the community one, which is one night a week, which is your Wednesday morning, you can sign up for it too if you'd like. But anybody that likes to, as a known member of the community, join over, sign up, make a character, so on and so forth, and we can play the game. It's been interesting so far. There's a fucking dragon. Spoilers. There's a fucking dragon. We're
spoilers, Scott.
Session 1, dragon discovered.
Ruined.
Session 2, dragon is no longer where we thought it was. We think it's alive and moving. Yay. All right. Anyways, I'll see you all in a few minutes. I'm just going to take a little break for myself and let these boys go bye-bye.
I'm going to go bye-bye.